Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today, we're diving into the intense world of Free Fire while listening to a chilling story that's sure to send shivers down your spine. Make sure you're ready, because this horror tale might just make you think twice before looking over your shoulder. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to support the channel. Now, let's get started. Alone in the dark, the old house creaked and groaned as if it were alive, its ancient bones protesting the stillness of the night. Sarah shivered, pulling the blanket tighter around her. She was alone, completely alone. Her parents had gone on a surprise trip to Europe, leaving her to fend for herself for a week. As the wind howled outside, whipping at the windows, Sarah tried to convince herself that the strange noises she was hearing were just the house settling. But the creaking footsteps on the second floor, the distant whispers, and the cold draft that seemed to follow her from room to room were too much to ignore. She glanced at the old grandfather clock in the corner. It was almost 3 a.m. The hands seemed to creep slowly, each tick echoing in the silent house. A sudden crash from the kitchen made her heart leap into her throat. She froze, listening intently. The noise came again, more distinct this time. Something had shattered. Mustering all her courage, Sarah grabbed a flashlight and crept towards the kitchen. Her hand trembled as she turned the doorknob. The room was dark, except for a sliver of moonlight that streamed through a broken window. As her eyes adjusted to the darkness, she saw it, a figure standing in the middle of the kitchen. Its back turned to her. Fear gripped her, but she forced herself to move forward. As she got closer, she could make out the figure more clearly. It was tall and thin, with long, shadowy arms. Its head was turned away from her, but Sarah could feel its eyes on her. With a blood-curdling scream, Sarah turned and ran. She bolted up the stairs, her heart pounding in her chest. She slammed the door to her bedroom and locked it, then huddled under the covers. Trembling, she tried to tell herself it was just her imagination, but she knew better. As she lay there in the darkness, she heard a soft tapping at the window. Her eyes flew open as she stared at the glass. A pair of glowing eyes stared back at her. After the glowing eyes vanished, Sarah heard a soft, rhythmic tapping at her door. Her heart pounded in her chest as she hesitated to answer. The knocking continued, growing louder and more insistent with each pass, until she could feel the vibrations through the door. A faint glow began to seep beneath the door, casting eerie shadows that danced on the wall. Sarah held her breath, straining to see, but the light abruptly faded. Despite the locked door, Sarah felt a presence watching her. Every hair on the back of her neck stood on end as a chilling sensation crept over her. Sarah was so scared and Sarah fainted. What will happen to Sarah? Please tell me the ending of the story. In a small town in England, there's a house known as the Cage. It was once used as a medieval prison, where countless people were tortured and even executed, including a woman accused of witchcraft. After centuries, the prison was turned into a house, and several families moved in over the years. However, none of them stayed long. One night, Vanessa Mitchell, the then owner, was alone in the house when she heard footsteps coming from an empty room. Assuming it was just her imagination, she tried to ignore it, but the footsteps became louder, echoing down the hallway. Suddenly, a shadow figure appeared before her, then vanished in an instant. Vanessa experienced countless other terrifying encounters, from doors slamming shut on their own to voices whispering her name. Her friends and family refused to visit her, saying they felt an overwhelming sense of dread just standing outside. Paranormal investigators later confirmed that the house had an unusually high level of spiritual activity, with some even claiming to see ghostly figures in their recordings. In the end, Vanessa fled, leaving her house, her memories, and the entities behind. The cage remains abandoned, and locals warn travelers not to linger near it, especially at night. The last door. The old house stood at the end of the street, its windows dark and vacant like hollowed-out eyes. Locals whispered of strange occurrences within its walls, unexplained noises, flickering lights, and a sense of unease that seemed to seep from its very foundation. One stormy night, a group of teenagers, fueled by a mix of curiosity and bravado, decided to explore the abandoned house. As they crept through the overgrown garden and up the creaking steps, the wind howled around them, carrying with it eerie whispers that seemed to call their names. Inside, the house was shrouded in an oppressive darkness. Dust motes danced in the feeble beams of their flashlights, revealing cobwebs and peeling wallpaper. The air was thick with the scent of decay and something more sinister. As they ventured deeper, the house seemed to grow smaller, the walls pressing in on them. Strange sounds echoed through the halls, the creak of floorboards, the drip of water, and a faint, mournful melody that seemed to come from nowhere. Suddenly, a door at the end of the hallway swung open with a violent crash. The teenagers froze, their hearts pounding in their chests. A cold wind rushed out of the room, extinguishing their flashlights. In the pitch black, they could hear the faint sound of footsteps approaching. One by one, the teenagers screamed and ran, their terror fueling their flight. They stumbled through the house, their frantic movements sending objects crashing to the floor. But no matter how fast they ran, the footsteps seemed to follow. When they finally burst through the front door and into the night, they didn't stop running until they reached the safety of their own homes. And though they never returned to the old house, the memory of that night haunted them for years to come. They swore they had heard a voice whispering from the darkness. A voice that seemed to say, "You should have stayed out." Thank you all for watching until the end. I hope you enjoyed both the intense moments in Free Fire and the spine-chilling horror story today. If you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of the latest videos. See you in the next adventure. Thank you all for watching until the end. I hope you enjoyed both the intense moments in Free Fire and the spine-chilling horror story today. If you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of the latest videos. See you in the next adventure.